Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have a couple of articles once again dealing with the UFO question. The first article we'll be reading is about the Pope. The article is titled, New Pope Leo XIV Faces Pressure to Disclose Vatican UFO Secrets. So, various groups are pressuring the Pope here to get the Vatican to release all information dealing with what is probably UFO phenomena that they have in their records. Very interesting. Let's read on. As newly elected Pope Leo XIV takes the reins of the Catholic Church, he may also inherit one of its most explosive alleged secrets, the concealment of evidence of extraterrestrial life. British filmmaker and musician Mark Christopher Lee explores these allegations and more in his groundbreaking documentary God vs. Aliens, now streaming on Tubi. The film examines how major world religions, and in particular the Vatican, might respond to the ultimate paradigm shift. Official confirmation of intelligent life beyond Earth. For a while now, people have wondered how world religions will deal with that fact if it does prove to be true, folks, if we are not alone in the universe. So, let's read on, and basically we can wonder about that after we read through this article. There are persistent rumors, backed by testimonies from insiders, that the Vatican has known far more about non-human intelligence than it has ever admitted. Says Lee, one of the most intriguing claims is that a UFO crash in post-war Sicily was secretly recovered and stored within church-controlled facilities. God vs. Aliens drives into reports suggesting the Vatican may be a custodian to one of the earliest recovered UFOs in modern history. Allegedly, a metallic disc-shaped craft crash-landed in Sicily shortly after the end of World War II. Do you believe those rumors, folks? You gotta remember, Roswell itself happened in 1947, so that's exactly the same as this rumor here, folks, and we have to wonder why these alleged craft were crashing back then, folks. We can talk about that after we finish off this article. According to whispers from within intelligence circles, the craft was quietly transported to Vatican territory, bypassing both the Italian government and Allied authorities. The legend forms part of a broader body of alleged hidden knowledge, including a 1494 codex describing a being of light descending from the stars, the 1961 Pope John the 23rd encounter where the pontiff allegedly met a glowing humanoid figure, Vatican observatory files detailing unexplained aerial phenomena logged in Argentina, Fatima, and Castro Gandolfo. A restricted archive known only to the highest levels of the Curia, referred to as the Codex Angelius. Following on from this film, God vs. Aliens, I now have been granted access to the Vatican archives and I will be looking for evidence to back up these claims, Lee adds. A theologian with a background in astrophysics, Pope Leo XIV has made waves early in his papacy with unusually progressive statements, including this excerpt from a recent homily: if other intelligences were created by God, our faith must be large enough to embrace them, not fear them. Sources inside the Vatican suggest the new Pope has ordered an internal review of materials related to extraterrestrial contact and is seriously considering a partial disclosure strategy. With the resurgence of UFO interest, U.S. congressional hearings, and whistleblower testimony about non-human craft retrieval programs, the film is being reevaluated as prophetic. Mark Christopher Lee is a British independent filmmaker and musician known for projects that challenge mainstream narratives and delve into spiritual, metaphysical, and philosophical terrain. His work has screened at Raindance Film Festival and reached international audiences via platforms like Tubi. So, this guy, well, it sounds like he's doing good, but is it all true, folks? And does the Vatican actually conceal evidence of contact with alien beings that maybe back then when they actually encountered these creatures and entities that they thought were maybe revelations from God? And only later years, folks, did maybe someone look back at the advent of the modern UFO era and ask, maybe these encounters were actually encounters with alien beings, perhaps. As I said, folks, it's a possibility. But let's move on to the next article here. It's a very strange one. New study ties vanishing stars to UFOs and nuclear activity. Is it possible that UFOs are causing entire stars to vanish from the sky, folks? Let's read on and find out. In the early 1950s, astronomers at the Palomar Observatory in California captured images of the night sky that revealed something peculiar, fleeing star-like objects that appeared and vanished within minutes. These transients, as scientists call them, were spotted during the first Palomar Observatory Sky Survey, a project that photographed the heavens before the launch of the first artificial satellite in 1957. A recent study by researcher Stephen Brule from Vanderbilt University Medical Center and Britres Verrol from Nordata in Sweden suggests these mysterious flashes might be linked to two surprising phenomena: above-ground nuclear weapons tests and reports of unidentified anomalous phenomena commonly known as UAPs or UFOs. The researchers combed through a massive data set spanning from November 1949 to April 1957, analyzing over 100,000 transients detected in the sky survey's images. These transients were bright, point-like sources that appeared in one photograph but were absent in images taken just before or after, ruling out stars or other known celestial bodies. The team wondered if these brief apparitions could be connected to human activity on Earth, specifically nuclear tests conducted by the United States, Soviet Union, and Great Britain, or to the wave of UAP sightings reported during the same period. To explore this, they compiled a detailed record of 2,718 days, noting when transients appeared, when nuclear tests occurred, and when UAP sightings were documented in a comprehensive database called UOF-CAT. Days within a 3-day window of a nuclear test mean the day of the test plus the day before and after were 45% more likely to have transients than other days. Moreover, on those same days, the number of transients were significantly higher, suggesting a possible link between nuclear explosions and these fleeting sky objects. I would have to say this is a good explanation for some of these transients, folks. Indeed, maybe they were the result of nuclear tests conducted by the United States government and other governments around the world. But what about UFOs? We'll probably learn about that as we read further, so let's get back to the article now. The study found that on days when at least one transient was observed, the number of UAP reports was noticeably higher. For every additional UAP sighting reported on a given day, the number of transients increased by about 8.5%. This pattern held even when the researchers accounted for the fact that UAP reports were common, occurring on nearly 90% of the days studied. The link was strongest when both a nuclear test and a UAP sighting happened on the same day, hinting that these events might amplify each other's effects on transients. That is indeed fascinating, folks. One particularly compelling observation came from July 1952 when multiple transients appeared in sky survey images on 2 consecutive weekends. These dates coincide with a famous series of UAP sightings over Washington, D.C., where objects were seen both visually and on radar for hours. The researchers speculate that some transients could be UAPs in Earth orbit reflecting sunlight or emitting light as they descend into the atmosphere, possibly triggering sightings on the ground. The study doesn't claim that transients are definitely UAPs or caused by nuclear tests, but it rules out simpler explanations like defects in the photographic plates. Unlike streaks that might result from atmospheric effects, these transients appeared as distinct points, suggesting that they were objects at high altitudes or in orbit. The researchers proposed 2 possibilities. The transients could be an unknown atmospheric phenomena triggered by nuclear detonations, or they might be artificial objects, perhaps linked to the long-standing idea that UAPs are drawn to nuclear activity. The Palmer Observatory's single vantage point also limited the study as nuclear tests and UAP sightings occurred worldwide. Still, the findings add weight to the idea that transients are real phenomena, not just photographic flaws. Historically, numerous UFO incidents have been reported near nuclear test sites, adding context to these findings. For instance, during the 1940s and 1950s, sightings of unusual objects were frequently noted at locations like Los Alamos, a Nevada test site where nuclear weapons were developed and tested. Military personnel and scientists reported metallic, fast-moving objects in the skies, often during or shortly after tests. These documented accounts suggest a pattern of UAP activity near nuclear facilities that may extend to the transients observed in the sky survey. So, it would seem that these transients, that people used to call these objects that were basically photographed, weren't actually photo flaws or basically mistakes. They were indeed maybe something to do with either nuclear tests or maybe, actual photos of UFOs descending to the Earth, folks. So that is indeed very, very intriguing. So that means that basically for maybe decades now, we've actually had more evidence of UFOs visiting Earth than we really realized, folks. So indeed, that's amazing. Does this prove that UFOs are real, folks, or adds to the wider UFO question? Not really, folks. This is just more photos that a lot of skeptics will argue are probably just some weird phenomena we don't understand. Either way, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.